Saakashvili's hold on the presidency in Georgia is looking less and less sure. The opposition is even claiming victory. Syria condemns countries backing the anti-Assad rebels. At the UN, they accuse them of supporting terrorism. And the inquiry into the shooting of 34 miners at a platinum mine near to Johannesburg gets underway. The police are accused of shooting them dead as they were sent to restore order at the Lonmin platinum mine. Also in this slice of life in Paris, we have sport for you and a scandal in handball. Olympic gold medalists among a group of French players suspected of match fixing. Also included among them all Nikola Karabatic, the most famous name in world handball. Dan Levy has more on this. And Monet, Picasso, Dali, no place on earth is as synonymous with art as Paris. And in today's culture, we have a tour of the city's artistic glories past, present, and future. To the news. The opposition says it's won the election in Georgia. The state was at war with Russia over its breakaway states just 4 years ago under current President Mikhail Saakashvili. They could be about to dump him for a billionaire businessman. These were the scenes in Tbilisi just a few moments ago. The billionaire businessman in question is Bidzina Ivanishvili. His Georgia Dream coalition is actually claiming victory. Well, Georgia's future will be in the hands of either its current president, Saakashvili, or the challenger, Ivanishvili. As we say, he already says he's won. Let's look now at the two men with the things that separate them.
The man at the head of the 2003 Rose Revolution, Mikhail Saakashvili, ousted former Soviet Foreign Minister Eduard Shevardnadze in 2004 elections. In the following years, the US-educated lawyer modernized the economy, ended Georgia's frequent power cuts, and curbed police corruption. He also fostered close ties with the West. Saakashvili says this week's elections give Georgians the chance to move closer still to Europe, while keeping the Kremlin at arm's length.
Lots of things are being decided right now in our country for the region, for the development, for the future of this, not only this nation, but what happens to the European dream in this part of the world.
Opponents accuse Saakashvili of pressuring courts, persecuting political adversaries, and policing the media. In recent weeks, a video showing abuse of inmates at a jail in the capital brought thousands out onto the streets. The president's also come under fire for the Georgian army's rout in the 2008 war with Russia. His main opponent, billionaire businessman Bidzina Ivanishvili, won Georgian hearts through years of quiet philanthropy, restoring churches and helping struggling artists. Having made his fortune in Russia, Ivanishvili's been branded a stooge of rulers in Moscow.
My main opponent keeps using the argument that I'm working for the Kremlin, that I'm Putin's puppet. He's using that against me because he has nothing else to say. My past is 100% clean.
Ivanishvili refused to cast his ballot in Monday's election after the government stripped him of his citizenship last year. Yet he says he'd serve as Prime Minister if his Georgian Dream Party comes out on top in the parliamentary poll. As for Saakashvili, he said he'll step down as president when his term ends early next year.
In Syria, the state army has been waging what have been described as fierce battles in the souks of Aleppo. The old city of Aleppo's World Heritage Site. Fires have broken out there. UNESCO has spoken out over the destruction of this area. The rebels are still said to hold the Souk al-Medina, a stone-vaulted covered market of some 13 kilometers of area. Well, in a speech to the UN's General Assembly, Bashar al-Assad's Foreign Minister Walid al-Mualem has accused the rebels' supporters, that's the likes of France, US and Turkey, of backing terrorism. And he added that calls for Assad to stand down, coming from the likes of Washington and Paris, were blatant interference.
Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Libya and others. We want a commitment from them to stop funding, arming and training terrorist groups and to encourage dialogue and renounce violence.
Let's get some analysis now, bringing Middle East specialist Majid Rafizadeh. He joins us on the line from Washington. Majid, good evening to you, and thank you once again for your presence here on France 24. It's always much appreciated. Tell us first off, in your opinion, because it's something that we talk about often here in the office. How much more must happen before there's some kind of decisive international response? We hear every day about more killing. Here we have Aleppo being, it seems, near enough destroyed by what's happening. So how much further does it have to go before there is an international answer here?
Well, Mark, I think since the uprising started 19 months ago, we see that whenever the Syrian officials, including the Syrian ambassador to UN, Mr. Jafari, or Syrian foreign minister Walid Muallim, they use a standard, they've been using a standard terminology. And one of these terminologies has been that they are they've been a target of a plot by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, France, United States, or they've been using the sovereignty card. The sovereignty is one of the important issues at UN, and they've been warning that they will not allow any country to infringe upon their sovereignty. But I think one of the most important issues that recently is happening, I think, we see Walid Muallim speech at the UN was more a response to a speech by Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa, a few days ago, who explicitly said UN has failed and they should let the Arab countries intervene in Syria to stop the violence.
Do you think Aleppo will be basically destroyed?
Well, I think what is happening is that we're seeing some sort of balance of powers happening between the rebels and the state, the Assad regime, and we're seeing that the Arab Gulf countries are flowing some sort of financial aid into the hands of the oppositional groups. I think what we see in the future is we're going to see more destruction and violence in Syria and more radicalization of the youth in Aleppo or even in the capital of Damascus.
Majid Rafizadeh, we need to leave it there. Sorry to leave you after such a short interview, but as I say, always a pleasure, and it's always illuminating having you on the channel. Thank you for joining us once again, and obviously we hope to talk to you once again very shortly, hopefully with some better news about the situation in Syria. But as we say, those battles continuing in Aleppo, and the people at UNESCO expressing their concern, and of course the words at the UN General Assembly blaming everybody who's helping the rebels, saying they are supporting terrorism.